Welcome to the Globe Digger Solo Travel Podcast, episode 8. Today, I'm going to be sharing my 7 top adventures in Costa Rica. Now, these adventures are just over my first 2 weeks while I was in the country. I was there for 30 days on my trip around the world in 2022. And if you want to read the blog, go to globedigger.ca. It is up there on the site. So number 1, my first adventure that I'm going to share is I went horseback riding in the Costa Rica jungle. So this was in Liberia. I had actually, so I met this girl, my first travel partner, this girl Corinne from the Netherlands. We had taken a bus from Nicaragua into Costa Rica. And I remember, because I was like, okay, I'm going to this hostel. I don't know where it is. Here it is. Do you know where this is? And the guy nods his head. And it was called Belbos, which was a hostel in the middle of the jungle, 30 kilometers at least away from the nearest city. We were literally right in the smack dab in the middle of it. I remember him dropping us off. And it's like, oh my God, this is like, okay, there's nothing here, is there? So when we went to check in, the first thing the owner of the hostel told us was to shake out our sheets. I was like, okay, what's this all about? And he said, yeah, you got to shake your sheets out. So if there's scorpions in there, they'll be gone. And he said it does happen where the scorpions can get into the rooms, because the rooms were kind of like, it was one of those where it's just this big building, and then you have no shared norms. It was all separate rooms. And yeah, you could totally see it's just basically cement walls and floors. And you could see on the door, it would be easy for critters to get under there. So, and just a couple things about the hostel, just to kind of set it up a little bit, is there was this river to the left of it, and there was these 2 crocodiles that owned that part of the river. So you weren't going to be swimming in there, and you could see them swimming back and forth, back and forth. There was a path, and I remember we went for a walk along this path, and there was snakes all over the place in there. So it was like, okay, we're really into this. So it was not there was nothing touristy about this area whatsoever. The howler monkeys, every night they kept you going all night long. And you was like, sometimes there's howler monkeys and they're like, oh, that's 10 miles away. These ones were right there. It was pretty crazy. Groups of coyotes coming every morning. You'd see them first thing in the morning. So this is right in the middle of nowhere. And this hostel didn't have there was no real organized tours. It was all just the tours were with farmers in the area, some indigenous to take you, fishing, that maybe had a cabin out there in the middle of the water there. So Karen really wanted to go horseback riding. So she went and talked to the owner of the hostel and says, hey, there's no way we could go horseback riding around, in this area. And there was no official tour where, an insured tour, but there was a rancher that was not far away, a couple miles up the road, that the hostel owner asked him if he'd be willing to take us out for a day. And sure enough, he was nice enough. Yeah, I can take him on this day. So Corinne and I went horseback riding in the jungle. Actually, I should rip up a picture. There we are, right there. So we spent the day horseback riding in the Costa Rican jungle. And, isn't that beautiful? We were literally just going right through the jungle on horseback. Our guide had told us that, once he got bit by a poisonous snake. He took us to this jaguar den, which was pretty wild. And he's poking around it. It's like, oh shit. So it's like, yeah, it was a great day. We went all through his property. He was a rancher, so it was all his land. And we just spent the day out there on horseback. And it was just an epic day. There's many ways to do this in Costa Rica. This hostel no longer exists, so going to Balbo's won't work. But you can do an organized tour. They're pretty easy to find. It's a pretty big thing in Costa Rica. So it's something I really suggest you do it, and it's a great way to see the jungle. Next, I was off to La Fortuna, Costa Rica. So yeah, this is La Fortuna is it's very popular on the backpackers trail. There's you're not on the beautiful beaches of Tamarindo, but there's lots of there's a volcano. That's one thing there is. So when you're in La Fortuna, the backdrop, there's Arenal volcano, very famous volcano. It's erupted many times. It hasn't for a long time. But what I did was I hiked up the lava field of the volcano. So I was staying at a hostel called Cabanas Las Palmas. So I booked this with the owner. It's a family-owned hostel. And it was $65 it was like a half a day. I think it was like an afternoon on up Arenal volcano. So there's probably 20 of us. I was the old guy on the tour, but so I was always at the back. I'm just want to make sure I don't fall on these rocks. But yeah, a couple hours hiking up this Arenal volcano and right up the lava field. It's pretty cool, just going all the way up. You just follow the lava field. And then you get to the point, like right here, where you can take a great picture. And yeah, it'd be nice if those clouds weren't there and be a little clearer day. But it's, great experience and definitely one of my favorite volcano hikes. I'd say medium in terms of difficulty, not like a Acatenango or anything like that. It's very doable for people, I think, of all ages. And yeah, it's just a great day you spend that whole time just going right up that lava field. You can imagine the volcano erupting and what it might have been like. So Arenal volcano and La Fortuna, number 2. While in La Fortuna, do not leave without going to the hot springs. So this is the hot springs in La Fortuna. It's all natural. It's obviously they get their heat with anywhere when there's volcanoes in an area, there's usually going to be hot springs. And it's just a great day. You can see you're in there with nature in the jungle. Not too crazy, not too crowded, but it's a popular spot. And yeah, it's just a great way to unwind, relax. Maybe after your volcano hike, you just chill and what we did was there was I think 4 of us, and we paid the owner of this hostel. So if you ever go into La Fortuna, this hostel, Cabanas Las Palmas, this is a family-run hostel, and this guy will just take you to places like this. You pay him $10, $20, and he'll just drop you off. He'll wait for you, and then come back. So it was, it was a great afternoon. Spent a great couple hours. I think we ended our day at the natural hot springs in La Fortuna. Okay, so next, it was off to the hanging bridges in Arenal. So if you're catching a theme here, it's like go to La Fortuna. There's a ton of amazing things to do, and you can cover up a lot of ground. So some of the best things to do in Costa Rica are in the La Fortuna area. So it's the Mistico Arenal hanging bridges. So this was my same hostel, the same guy. There was, I think, 3 of us, a couple from Germany and myself. And they said, hey, do you want to go and see the hanging bridges? So we all chipped in. I think it was $20 again. And he drove us and waited for us. We just had to pay our admission. And yeah, and these things are like really cool. Like you see the behind me, and they're like, you feel like you gotta hang on. You're going through all these hanging bridges through the jungle. So kind of like a zip line, only it's bridges, and you're way up above. And they don't feel really safe, but they are. They're secure. But they're like shaking, and especially when somebody else gets on the bridge, they start moving and you really start to feel the bridge shake. And yeah, it's just a beautiful way, another great way to see the jungle, and the views are amazing. And you just basically spend an afternoon and go from bridge to bridge. And it's just an amazing walk. Great trip through the jungle. And yeah, I highly recommend it. Do not leave La Fortuna without seeing the world famous La Fortuna Waterfall. And it is world famous, and it's magnificent. It's massive, huge waterfall, and it's very well done in terms of, you know, in some parts of the world, places like Nicaragua, it's hard to get to them. You know, it's like or Colombia. It's often like, they're beautiful, but it's a lot of work to get there, and you gotta hike up mountains and cliffs and do some rock climbing. Just very difficult, but not in Costa Rica and not the La Fortuna waterfall. They have these, it's a hike in terms of there's difficulty because you're going up. There's a lot of climbing, but they're on stairs, nice stairs, and it's just, yeah, it's very well done. And there's an opportunity for a photo above, like right here, beautiful backdrop, you know, just, you know, Instagram kind of stuff. And yeah, you can spend some time kind of up there just admiring it, but then you can go down and you can go in for a swim. I did. It's freezing, but it's pretty cool. So you're right at the base of that waterfall, and it's like a really high one. So it's yeah, it's just pretty it's pretty epic. The only thing that would make it better is if there wasn't 1,000 other people in there with you. So it is a very popular attraction, but yeah, pretty incredible. It's amazing. You may want to get into and do the work, go and which I've done many times, and find those waterfalls, those hidden gems where there's nobody there. But this is something. It's pretty incredible. And anytime when things are easy to get to, they're easy to access, and they have stairs and things like this set up for tourism, then they're going to be crowded. And this is one of them, but it's still, nonetheless, it's an amazing way to spend an afternoon, and your Instagram's going to love it. And yeah, get to Tamarindo. This is a touristy spot, but I'm telling you that Tamarindo Beach is one of the best you'll ever find. And that sunset every night, I'm serious. I was in Tamarindo for like 5 days. You know, sometimes you're, I want to get down, see the sunset on Wednesday or something. But in Tamarindo, it's every day. You automatically, every single day, every night, that's kind of where the life happens. You go down to the beach, you watch the sunset, grab an Imperial, have a beer, cocktail, whatever you wish, and just watch this thing. And it's just incredible. And it's something, even if you want to travel off the beaten path, Tamarindo, number one, it's great for backpackers. Lots of backpackers there. It really is an amazing place to hang out in a beautiful city. But for me, the top thing there to do is check out the sunset in Tamarindo. Don't just do it once, do it twice, 3 times, 4 times. However many days you're there, never miss it, because it's one of those things you can't get enough of it. So I found myself in Puerto Viejo, definitely one of my favorite stops in Costa Rica. And I was like, okay, Puerto Viejo, definitely a good place to do a zip line. And you don't go to Costa Rica, you don't leave without doing a zip line. No way. It's like, for my money, there's not a better way to see the jungle. a more thrilling way to see the jungle. You know, you're as far high up sometimes as like a kilometer above the trees. And what's better than that? So I decided when I was in Puerto Viejo, I took a trip into town from my hostel one day, and I stumbled into this tourist office, and the company is Gandoka Tours. It's referenced in my blog. And I decided to walk in there one day and quick chat. I want to do a zip line. What do you think? They're like, this is the one to do. This is the best. And you'll have a great day. And they hooked me up. And I was making my way into the jungle. They came, they actually picked me up at my hostel. I think it was about a 1 hour. I think it was just about a 1 hour Jeep ride into the jungle to do the zip line. Might have been a bit longer than that, but something like that. It didn't seem too crazy. And there was a small group of us. If you've never ziplined, it's not that much to it. They do kind of train you on kind of be like the equivalent to the bunny hill if you're skiing, and just kind of get the feel of it. You know, there's a couple little things like even if you're scared, don't brake, don't stop, because if you get stuck in the middle of a zip line, you have to basically pull your way back, and you don't want to be there. So you basically just go in, you glide. So basically, and there was somebody there. There was one lady there. We were all rookies, most of us, but there was one older woman that was like in her 70s. She'd done it like 12 times, and she was a veteran, and she loved it, and she had definitely no issues with it. So it is a thrill. It's exciting. And really going from like I call them zips, zip to zip, line to line, post to post, that's the wording, is it's just incredible. It's like you go in, keep your eyes open, please. Like you look down, you're like, oh my God, this is really happening. And then you get to the next post, and there's like monkeys all over the place. It literally seemed like they were just watching us, watching the show, taking it in. And it's, it was just an unbelievable day. And I would say maybe out of these if I was ranking these adventures, this probably goes to number one, even though it's the 7th one I've talked about today. But it's, do a zip line. There's many places. I think Manuel Antonio might be the best zip lining actually in Costa Rica, but you can do it in Puerto Viejo. There's, throughout the country, and it's something that, and it's safe. One thing just to keep in mind, some people think, oh, if this thing falls, or what I've read about Costa Rica and zip lining is that they've never been in an accident. If there's ever is an accident and something actually happens with one of these, that the government's just going to shut the whole thing right down. They've made that very clear. This is what the guides at least told me, and it makes some sense, but it's very safe. They're inspected all the time, daily, making sure everything's good. So it's it's a safe day, and do yourself a favor and go ziplining when you're in Costa Rica. Do not leave without a zip line. I don't care. Even if you're doing a 1-week resort in Tamarindo, say, I want to go and do a zip line. So this was it. So these were the 7 things that are, keep in mind, this is just 2 weeks. I did those 4 cities in 2 weeks, or 4 areas of Costa Rica in 2 weeks. There's so much more. I mean, I know I had a podcast on doing my jungle hike at night where I ran into the Fer-de-Lance, and you can go and you can do jungle tours at night. There's places like Hacko Beach. There's so much. It's an incredible country. And I remember, it's just because I wrote this blog when I was 2 weeks in, I was so excited, and I was like, yeah, this is just 2 weeks, and here's the 7 best things I've done so far. And it's Costa Rica is such an amazing country, and this is not a paid advertisement. This is all organic. This is just me talking. No one pays me to do this, and it's just yeah, an amazing country and so much adventure. And hopefully you get to experience it. And, you know, you could come up with, you know, maybe you have a combination of what I've shared, but there's so many other things you could do as well. So this was it. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and you got something out of it, and that you have a blast on your next travels.